She wants to get back together.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. That's why you're here. Help me.
You want to get back together with her?
No. What do I do?
Just don't get back together with her.
What if she makes me?
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
The first breast implants from SanFranciscoBreast.com, which feels pretty reputable.
Of course it's San Francisco. Had to be San Francisco.
1961.
Did you hear that they're doing that in the butt now?
A way to approach a possible reconciliation.
Let's get back together.
No. I'll tell you this, it is not because of the boob job. Excuse me, boob enhancement. That would be shallow, and this is the opposite of shallow. This is emotionally magnificent.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue with Gabe Neitzel and Mark Chamorro. Here's Jen Latta.
Running her mouth, she wants to ride it, she's trying to hide it. I'm cool as ever, she's too excited. Her man look like he wanna fight. He ain't doing nothing but running his mouth. Talk about it, we all about it. They making plans, we sit and count. Our chairs stacked just like a mountain. You heard about it, she running.
And just like that, the Mike Budenholzer era in Milwaukee comes to a close. The Milwaukee Bucks announcing yesterday that they are parting ways with Mike Budenholzer. Mike Budenholzer, who of course led the Milwaukee Bucks to an NBA title just a few years ago. Mike Budenholzer, whose team was bounced unceremoniously in the first round to a much, much lower seed in the Miami Heat this year, leaving a lot of people to ask the question, was this season, in fact, a failure because they fell so short of expectations? The Bucks brass, at least the owners and the people above Mike Budenholzer, obviously thought so. You do not fire a coach unless you consider the season to be a failure. Something had to have happened that was inexcusable, egregious, and the Bucks are now looking for a new head coach. Gabe Neitzel, your reaction when you saw the news that Mike Budenholzer had in fact been relieved of his duties yesterday?
What's going on?
There you go. You're here. You're with us. It's a Friday.
See, I don't like this. I'm very uncomfortable. I'm not in my normal seat. I'm in Chewy's seat.
This is like the offensive lineman moving to the other side.
Yeah, this is. I don't know. Like Ashton's on my right now. Jen's on my left.
I forgot I told you to move. Now you're good.
I just don't.
Why are you in my seat?
Because
one of the cameras isn't working, so I had to fix it, and I asked him to move there, and now he's all flushed. It's on me. My bad. Hand up. That's on me. My bad. Continue with your thoughts, please.
What were we talking about?
Mike Budenholzer.
Yeah, that's right. Again, like it's very disorienting being on this side of the room. I was not surprised. I didn't know if they were going to wait much longer, but my guess is, especially with the second round going on, as more teams get eliminated, maybe there are more coaches that get let go. Some coaching vacancies have already been filled, so if you were somebody who is in on Ime Udoka, the former Celtics coach. Obviously, he already has a job. He's now going to be coaching the Houston Rockets. So in order not to miss out on at least interviewing some of these people, the Bucks probably wanted to get out in front of this, decide, hey, we've got a really attractive job. Let's make the posting available, and anybody who wants it, now we can make sure we take our time. We don't have to rush through this. We can get the right head coach to push us forward. It wasn't all that surprising, because every story, whether it was Shams, whether it was Woj, whether it was, David Aldridge, whoever you want to go to for your NBA info, everybody was saying the Bucks were considering this. And how often does a team consider parting ways with a coach and not actually do it? It doesn't happen often. So once you have that initial thought of, we might move on, it's probably time to move on.
Do you think they already know who they want as a head coach? Because this took, 2 weeks?
A week.
To fire him?
It took a week. And they did not do exit interviews, by the way. Eric Name reporting that earlier this week, Eric Name of The Athletic. So, no, I do not think they know who they want. Whereas last time it seemed very clear when Budenholzer was available that he was going to be the guy for Milwaukee. I don't think they have anyone specific in mind. And they have made it clear that they're going to take their time, which says to me, we're going to wait to see if somebody wants to maybe leave their job to come to ours, because we have an incredibly attractive opportunity.
1,000,000%. I mean, the opportunity to coach Giannis, the unicorn player that is Giannis, one of one generational talent, is enormous. And look, we can talk about some of the candidates who are obviously being mentioned for the Bucks job as the show goes on. We'll get to that a little bit later. But you see how having a game-changing player can change the trajectory of a coach, right? All of a sudden, I mean, again, Mike Budenholzer had success as an assistant under Greg Popovich. He had success as the head coach of the Atlanta Hawks. He obviously came in and won this title as the head coach in part because Giannis is on the team, right? And it goes back to what we have talked about in the NFL as well, Chew, where show me a Hall of Famer head coach and I'll show you a Hall of Fame quarterback, right? Oftentimes those two things go hand in hand. But what I want to get to also is there are some people out there, a portion of the fan base, who are disappointed, who think that this was insensitive, who think that they should not have parted ways with Bud because of the tragedy that his family experienced during the NBA Finals. Now, I told you guys last week I had a reaction to this idea that Bud shouldn't have coached if he was going through something, if he emotionally and mentally was not all there and couldn't focus entirely on the task at hand, which was winning the first round of the playoffs. I've said people grieve differently. For me, when I was going through this with my dad 6 months ago, working was a good distraction for me. You could argue, though, that me working on College Game Day does not hold the same level of consequence as leading your team in the NBA playoffs. The reality is this: when you choose to still work while going through something that undoubtedly, inevitably, just from a human perspective, takes your focus away, you better be damn sure you can still get the job done. You better be damn sure that while you're out there using the job as the distraction, as I have admittedly done, you can still go out there and perform. And if you can't, that's when you have to have that hard conversation with yourself and say, I'm just not all there. I don't think I can do this. I need somebody else to step in and take my place. And Bud didn't do that. And again, I'm not telling him how to grieve. It's just that when you underperform, no matter what the reason, your bosses can hold you responsible for that performance. And it seems like that's what the Bucks brass did, Gabe.
Yeah, it's still business at the end of the day. Like, I feel bad for Bud. I feel bad for his family. It's a terrible thing to have to go through, the unexpected death of a loved one, somebody that you were close with. But I don't know. I guess if anybody's upset about the timing of this, like, how long should they have waited? I mean, I don't know. I don't know the answer to any of those. My guess is they were in communications with Bud. The Bucks have been a good communication organization with this new leadership and ownership that they've had for the past decade. So I think Bud probably understands it. Especially in the NBA. You take a look at the last 4 NBA championships. 3 of the 4 coaches who won those championships are no longer with their teams. They've all been let go. The only one being last year in Steve Kerr.
It's almost like the kiss of death that Coach of the Year was at one point. Remember? When it was like, Coach of the Year, cool, I'll start packing my bags now since y'all gave me a heads up by giving me that award. So, Chew, the next inevitable thing, of course, and we will talk about this as the show goes on, not specifically candidates here, but should Giannis have a say? Did Giannis have a say? Do you think Giannis, given how incredible he is, this generational player that we keep talking about, you think he had a say in moving on from Bud, Chew?
He might have had a voice. I don't know how big of a voice. He was probably in the room. But I think ultimately it came down to the owners who made the decision. I think he'll have a bigger voice on who they hire next as opposed to firing Bud. But with Bud, there was a track record. You know, there's that loss in the bubble. And then there's that series loss to the Raptors where they were up 2-0. You know, and then if Kevin Durant had a smaller foot, he probably gets fired after that game. So it was time. I mean, like you guys said, it's unfortunate that he lost his brother, but this is a business, and ultimately that's the decision they decided to make, and I think it was the right decision, and I'm not surprised by it at all.
So all of those losses leading up to the championship, I can excuse away under that growth mindset that Giannis was talking about in his press conference last week. I can excuse that away and say those were needed as steps toward finally getting the job done. But once you've gotten the job done, then you theoretically have a blueprint, not the same blueprint. I'm not saying that teams are playing you the same way. The roster is different every year. You have to be able to adjust and adapt. But I think it became very obvious as we were watching this playoff series, guys, that there was a lack of energy. There was a lack of oomph from this Bucks team. And Ashton, when you saw the statement yesterday from the Milwaukee Bucks, that stood out to you as part of an explanation for why they had to make this change.
Yes, I'm going to read the last paragraph from what the Bucks released yesterday. Quote, "This is an opportunity for us to refocus and re-energize our efforts as we continue building towards our next championship season," end quote. Seeing in there the refocus and re-energize, that immediately caught my eye. Like, publicly saying that, internally, sure, you can have those conversations, but publicly saying, hey, we weren't our best, and we didn't feel like we were our best this year. We need to refocus and re-energize our efforts because we still believe we're in this window, and we need like a kickstart, a jumpstart, something. That caught my attention right away, and that could be me reading too much into it, but I was like, teams don't say stuff like that often.
And it's a relatively small window.
Right.
That they have, not with Giannis as a whole, that is a much larger window, but in terms of the core that they currently have, you have Drew Holiday talking about maybe retiring at the end of the contract. You have a 35-year-old Brook Lopez who's a free agent, and Chris Middleton has a player option. Who knows if he exercises that or not. In terms of the 4 best players, the core that took you to a championship in 2021, I don't know how much longer that core is together. And if you're able to keep it together for 2 or 3 more years, having a new coach come in to be able to refocus, re-energize that squad, I think is the right move.
Well, let me ask you guys this, because I'm having a hard time wrapping my hands around this. Do you think Giannis actually wanted him fired? I can't see it. I mean, he's such a nice guy. I can't see Giannis going into this room with all these people saying, yeah, he's got to go.
I mean, I don't think he demanded it, but I think he was on board with it. I think if the Bucks came to him, I think if the Bucks came to him and said, "Hey, we're thinking about moving on from Bud," I think he went, "Okay."
I understand.
I
get it.
understand.
Because again, Chew, you're right in the fact that loyalty has been a huge tenet in the Giannis Antetokounmpo makeup. We've seen it with him choosing to stay in Milwaukee. So there's probably a part of him that was conflicted about, seeing a guy who has been such a huge factor in his success, in his trajectory, being let go. But Giannis would know that locker room better than we even could. And we could see it on the court that this team lacked something, right? It was one of those intangible things where you were like, look, the crowd could feel it. We had that debate several weeks ago about whose fault is it that Fiserv Forum during Game 1 was flat? Is that the fans' fault or is it the team's fault? And Gabe, you were adamant, team's got to bring it. Team's got to bring it. Fans feed off of that, and then it becomes this cyclical chicken or the egg thing. But who's starting the engine? The team. The way the team is playing, and they just didn't.
Because at the beginning of the game, the energy from the fans typically is going to be there, especially for a playoff game. But when the other team starts on, I don't even know what it was for the Heat, 14-4 run, whatever it was, and you can't feed off that right away, now the crowd's going to be trying to fight their way back into the game because all the energy they had was just sucked right out of them because of the way Game 1 started.
We had talked also, Chewy, about this being potentially a sacrificial lamb type of firing. I don't really feel that way, right? We had talked about how when a team underperforms to this level, to this degree, that somebody's got to go, and oftentimes it's easier to part ways with the coach than it is to part ways with the players.
And in the NFL, it's easier to not the head coach, but a coordinator gets dismissed. If you fire an assistant coach in the NBA, nobody really cares.
Go ahead,
if you sacrifice Vin Baker, nobody's going to be like, oh, that was clearly the problem.
But I'll tell you guys this, change is scary when you're good. When you're a team that is a playoff team or a championship team and you don't reach your goals, change is scary because I remember Holmgren leaving for San Francisco. Initially, we were pissed because he wanted out of here and he wanted a GM job and we're like, you suck. Yeah. But ultimately, when that all settles down, you're like, we're still a pretty good team, but who's going to call the offense and what's going to happen here? So that's why I'm having a hard time wrapping my hands around Giannis actually wanting or endorsing the firing, because it just changes. Like, well, what happens now? What if they bring in the wrong guy? I mean, we have the pieces. We just underachieved. So change is scary when you're good. Change is easy when you suck, right? That's a no-brainer.
Well, because a lot of the players are going to be changing too. It's not like, oh, we've got this great core when you stink. A lot of those players end up being part of the turnover as well.
800-990-3776. That is our ESPN Milwaukee talk and text line. It's how you can get in with the show on any conversation. We have Jason Wilde coming up next, but before we get to that, on our Jen, Gabe, and Chewy Twitter poll, we are asking you, do you agree with the Bucks firing of Coach Bud? Yes, I agree. No, I don't agree. I have a feeling most Bucks fans, frustrated with how this season went, frustrated with how the Bucks were bounced early in the playoffs, will be okay with the firing of Coach Bud, but I could be wrong. There may be people out there who say there's nobody else better out there. than Coach Bud. The devil you know versus the devil you don't. We'll talk to Jason Wilde right after this.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
Everything seems to be moving along just fine. No major delays around the area. Just one broken down vehicle westbound 94 west of Moreland Road. But that's not even in traffic and not really even causing too much of an issue. Traffic is brought to you by the Club at Lac La Belle, the birthplace of golf in Wisconsin. Schedule your tee time at club@laclabelle.com and start your journey. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. A slight chance of showers today, mainly to the north. Otherwise partly cloudy, a high of 67 at the lake, 74 inland. Tonight, a slight chance of a shower, mostly cloudy, a low of 50. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Traffic is sponsored by the Harley-Davidson Museum. Celebrate Bike Night on May 4th with a factory shop sale of up to 70% off. Visit hdmuseum.com for a full schedule of events and tickets.
No one else does it like Scalzo and Brust.
Nick, welcome to Scalzo and Brust. You hate us so much, but we love you.
Yes or no. Just say yes or no once in a while. You're always hedging, but you say there's no gray area. I don't understand it.
Where are we hedging,
but I can't stop listening.
Yeah, that's it. You're hooked, baby. You're hooked. 1 or 0.
Yeah,
He's a 1, baby. He's a 1.
Scalzo and Brust. Weekdays 4 to 6 on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Michelob Ultra.
It's a bird bash at Potawatomi. Thursdays, you could win up to $50,000 cash in the Bird Bash Game Show. Just play with your club card this May for a chance to win. Wouldn't you like to kick off spring with some tweet cash? Bird Bash, only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info at paysbig.com/birdbash. Must be 21 years old to play.
It's time for you and that diamond to come alive again.
At the second annual Spring Ring Cleaning at Kessler's.
Even if you have a good ultrasonic jewelry cleaner, it can't match the pressurized steam cleaning we do at Kessler's.
Let us steam clean and polish your engagement ring.
For free.
I'm Joe Gerke, president of Kessler's, and we want to strip away all the soap scum that is making your diamond look dull.
For free. And while we're doing it, we'll inspect the prongs on your ring to make sure your diamond isn't about to fall out.
It's the second annual Spring Ring Cleaning at Kessler's.
Here's another idea. Bring us anything you own that needs to be repaired, and we'll give you a price to make it like new again.
And if you have some old jewelry you don't wear anymore,
we can make something unique and wonderful out of it.
Unique in all the world.
Welcome to Kessler's.
To find the Kessler's nearest you, visit Kessler'sDiamonds.com.
Let's face it, we put our moms through a lot. I know I did. There's no way you should let Mother's Day slip by this year. Thank your mom or your wife with farm fresh flowers from Bouqs. That's short for bouquets. I got you guys 20% off, so you can thank your moms too. My mom was my best friend. She's not here anymore, but I made sure every single Mother's Day to send her great flowers. You can give your mom regular Mom's Day flowers or make her day spectacular with flowers from Bouqs. Here's what I love about them. Bouqs is different. Their flowers are sourced directly from the best farms and cut fresh, so they last way longer. Mother's Day is May 14th, and don't let it sneak by. Order your Bouqs now, and while you're there, check out their flower subscription so Mom feels your love all year long. Go to Bouqs.com and use promo code KEY for 20% off. That's BOUQS.com, promo code KEY.
Ready, down, put.
All Packers, all the time.
You can't miss consistently in the second and third rounds too often, because then you're messing up your roster. And so I think Goody needs, and the Packers scouting staff need to have a really good night.
Okay, most of the time.
Almonds specifically, or all nuts?
Well, these nuts, those nuts, whatever nuts work.
It's Jason Wilde on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Brought to you by Boucher Automotive. With 16 different new car brands and over 35 pre-owned brands to choose from. Boucher Automotive. We are driven by you. And by the Bridgewater Modern Grill. Nestled in the heart of Milwaukee's emerging Harbor District. Enjoy a specialty crafted menu centered around a custom oak-fed grill.
Always great to get the insight from our friend and teammate Jason Wilde when it comes to the goings-ons at 1265. Good morning, Jason.
Hello.
Jason, when will you get to be in the locker room and meet the new members of the Green Bay Packers?
12:10.
Oh, today?
Yep.
All right. Gabe and I were discussing this morning about how we always look forward to when the locker room is actually open and folks like you and the other reporters can start to peel away the layers, onion style of these players so that we can get to know them. I didn't know it was today.
Yeah, one of my favorite days of the season.
See, we're all on the same
So
page.
are you gonna iron your best hoodie, make sure the basketball shorts are looking good as you walk into the locker room? That'll make a good impression on the first day of school.
Yeah, I don't change my game, Gabe. You know me. That's my look. And as Matt Schneidman likes to point out, I look like I'm homeless. I don't necessarily agree with that, but he likes to dress up and wear suits and stuff, and it's just not my look. I think it's part of the comfortability that guys have with me. My favorite though was when I wore an SMU basketball hoodie and the Mustang apparently looked a little bit like a Detroit Lions logo to some. And Darnell Savage couldn't believe that I would wear a Lions hoodie into the Packers locker room, to which I said, I'm not wearing a Lions hoodie.
It's a horse.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Dude, no wonder that guy has trouble recognizing offenses. He can't recognize animals.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So anyway.
Should I not make that joke?
Yeah, that's good. I actually really appreciated it.
Jason, this is kind of off topic. I wanted to ask you this the other day, but we are kind of bogged down by the Jordan Love thing. What is the protocol for retiring a number if you're in the Hall of Fame as a Green Bay Packer? Because you have guys that their number are retired, and then you have guys like James Lofton and Leroy Butler are not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the protocol is some guys get their numbers retired. Other guys, you see 89 being worn by every guy that comes through the building. It's a next level honor that has only been given to 5 guys. And, I know that there were those folks that wanted 80 to be retired after not only James Lofton had worn it, but obviously there are a lot of people that love Donald Driver. And despite great careers, Leroy Butler the same, they don't rise to the level of having their number retired. That is a upper echelon that they're not going to do. What I think was interesting, speaking of numbers, was initially the Packers announced that Jaden Reed, their second-round pick, who wore number 1 at Michigan State, they posted that he was going to wear number 1, a picture of what would have been his jersey, after he was picked. And something must have changed because now he's 11. And number 1 was the number that Curly Lambeau wore. It's not really retired, but it's kind of retired. Same with number 5. Paul Hornung's number. It's not really retired, but I think it's been issued a few times to guys like during training camp when they needed numbers, but they don't keep it. They usually, those guys usually get a different number than if they make the team. So, look, they've got and let's remember too, the Packers with the Ring of Honor, that is different than most teams. Most teams' Ring of Honor is kind of like getting into the Packers Hall of Fame. Like I haven't been to U.S. Bank Stadium in a while, so I can't remember, but I know back in the Metrodome, all around the stadium in front of the suites were guys' names on it wasn't permanent. It was like those, like if you're having a big sale at Lenny's Discount Waterbeds or something, you buy like a banner that you hang. That's what they had for Vikings' greatest players. And they would hang these plastic banners around for their Ring of Honor. The Packers, you don't get in unless you get in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Like, think of, you're in the Packers Hall of Fame, Tausch is. Mm-hmm. You don't get your name on the facade. unlike a lot of other stadiums. So you've got to make the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and then the jersey number thing is the next level.
Speaking of numbers, Jason, you want?
Well, what are they going to do about Julius Peppers? Because what if Peppers goes into the Hall of Fame, but he only played 3 years here? That doesn't seem like it's facade worthy to me.
Yeah, it's funny because Cliff Crystal, who I was just saying to Homer and Tony is the GOAT of Packers beat writers, had a column on Packers.com the other day where it kind of explored that exact idea. I don't know what prompted it. And he is a good example because Charles Woodson is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's on the facade. He played 7 of his 18 seasons in Green Bay. The other one that would be, not including Brett, of course, the other one that would have been maybe borderline based on years is Reggie White. Reggie White played, I think, 14 seasons, and only 6 of them were the Packers. But
both of them had such an influence. Both of them were keystones of championship defense. Both won Defensive Player of the Year awards. Not to say Peppers wasn't good, especially that first year he was awesome. But 3 years and they didn't win a title.
Yeah, no doubt. But I think what Cliff explained in his column was about I think primary contributors is what they call it. And so even in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, they also have levels that you achieve with your various teams. Even though, as we've talked about many, many times, it's not like baseball where you go in as a member of whichever team you choose, like if you bounced around a little bit. Like Robin Yount went in as a Brewer, obviously, but other guys that maybe bounce around a little bit, even with Hall of Fame credentials, have to choose which team they're going in as a member of. In the Pro Football Hall of Fame, it doesn't work that way. So, do I think that they're going to put Julius Peppers' name on the side of the facade? No, I don't. But he will have been a Pro Football Hall of Famer who did spend part of his career in Green Bay. But I agree with you, it'll be viewed as not sufficient enough to merit that.
Jason, speaking of numbers, yesterday we got to see what those escalators were for Jordan Love's contract, the $9 million worth of escalators. Your reaction to the way that they structured those escalators and his ability to make more money by playing better all season long?
What'd you guys think?
Fair.
I mean, he's not going to hit a lot of those escalators.
Well, maybe not conference title game and win the Super Bowl, but you don't think he's going to be top 16 in passer rating, top 16 in completion percentage, top 16 in passing yards?
Sure, maybe he hits. So I think he can get.
They're asking for 50%, right? Top half of the league.
So, but he's not going to be top 10 in all those. Like he's going to get like $2 million more. He's going to get the $500,000 for playing 65% of the snaps, and then being the top 16 where he can get up to $1.5 million.
I think there's going to be injuries in the league at the quarterback position. Not everywhere, but there are going to be some, and so that'll affect some of the guys' abilities to really put up big numbers, passing yards wise and things like that. I don't know. There's a chance. I think the ones that are top 16, Jason, he has a good chance of hitting.
Yeah, I didn't feel like they were very encouraging escalators. Like I didn't like I just felt like they were. I hate talking about him lately because there's a portion of the fan base that does not want to hear critical things about Goody and doesn't want to hear them about Jordan Love. But like they don't. The escalators to me don't sound like they think he's. I mean, he's not. He can't even make up all the money that he gave up by not getting the 50-year option, right? Like, correct. I just feel like they're kind of like they're not even hedgy. They're like, we don't necessarily think you're going to be very good, and even if you are, we're not going to pay you that much if you do. That's how it felt to me. So he's got 2 years. They guaranteed $5.5 million of his 24 salary. I hope he really plays well. But I don't think he's going to initially. I think he's going to go through a bunch of ups and downs, and then we'll see how good he is in 24. But everybody's celebrating this like this is some sort of great extension that he got. it's a hedge by the organization. And again, smart business by them. Not criticizing them for it at all, but for all the talk about how ready he is and how it's a good day for the Packers to get a 4-time NFL MVP off your roster, none of their actions in the last week have made me at least feel like they're ultra confident in how good he's going to be. I think that's a fair critique. I understand other people don't agree.
Jason, we appreciate you hanging out with us this morning. Have a great weekend. Happy Cinco de Mayo, and we will talk to you again soon.
All right, everybody, take care. Be good.
That muy bueno drop is going to get its work in today.
Muy bueno.
Thank you.
Just waiting for the right moment for that.
Craig Karmazin coming up next. You know we're going to ask him about the Mike Budenholzer firing and who are some decent candidates. Who should we be looking at as a possible replacement for Bud as head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks? That's next.
Full show podcasts, interviews, and special content is available right now at WisconsinOnDemand.com. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on 94.5 ESPN.
We've got actually a pretty good ride shaping up. One spot where we might have a little bit of a tight squeeze is in the Hale interchange on the ramp from the Rock Freeway northbound to 894 northbound in the Hale itself. But really nothing else major to slow us down. Volume is picking up, but no major delays right now. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast, a slight chance of showers today, mainly to the north, otherwise partly cloudy, a high of 67 at the lake, 74 inland. Tonight, a slight chance of a shower, mostly cloudy, a low of 50. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga, 94.5 ESPN.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, sponsored by Ridgetop Exteriors on 94.5 ESPN. One's a Marquette Hall of Famer.
Who'd get more votes, me or you, for president?
The other may or not make things up from time to time.
You would. Why would you just automatically say me?
There's nothing that I do
Homer?
better than you. Nothing.
Homer and Tony.
Why would anybody
Maybe
pick
you do
me?
politics better.
That would mean that I'm not as good, but that I can just fake it or something.
Hey, there's your specialty. Faking it, making it up.
No.
You're in.
No.
You're hired.
I wouldn't vote for
You're
me.
elected.
I would vote for me against you.
Weekdays 2 to 4 on 94.5 ESPN.
Life is supposed to be fun. With Best Burger Awards in the trophy case, peanuts raining from the ceiling, and boozy custard shakes, AJ Bombers is just plain fun. Located on Water Street in downtown Milwaukee, AJ Bombers is the perfect place for pregame grub. Prefer to watch the game from a bar stool? Enjoy great views from multiple flat-screen TVs while you cheer on Milwaukee's home teams with a smash-style burger and fried cheese curds. Visit AJ Bombers on Water Street or check out ajbombers.com.
Hey, this is Bo stepping in for Ridgetop Larry. Ridgetop Exteriors is Wisconsin's #1 choice for roofing, siding, windows, and doors. We are the trusted local experts who live and work in the areas we serve, which means we're helping friends and neighbors too. On top of that, Ridgetop Exteriors offers the most affordable payment options, including no interest and low interest financing. For your free estimate, visit ridgetopexteriors.com. Roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Visit ridgetopexteriors.com.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Life's better with an auto policy from American Family Insurance. No matter what dreams you're driving towards. That's because our expert agents will make you feel totally protected with the right auto coverage at the right price. You'll also save up to 23% when you bundle auto with home. American Family Insurance. Get a quote, find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
It's Friday, and that means it's time to check in with GKB President Craig Karmazin.
I'm like part of the overall home office team that was fortunate enough to be invited to the party. So I'm attending. I've already RSVP'd, so I will be there.
Fridays with Mo.
I've never been somewhere before that was usable.
For what it's worth,
Charlotte Airport, which has some great sleeping pods.
Is there a prophylactic rubber in there?
No, there is not.
Craig Karmazin on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
We know Craig Karmazin has thoughts about this development with the Milwaukee Bucks, and so we are fortunate to have him hanging out with us this morning on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Good morning, Craig.
Good morning, everybody.
Vietnam. Your reaction to the Mike Boldenhauser firing.
Who? Rosenberger.
Boldenhauser? Rosenberger?
Budenholzer. It's not as bad as yesterday when people were calling him Bud Budenholzer.
It's tough. You get stuck between
the
calling
Bud.
him Bud
Yep.
or Budenholzer, and you just,
Yep.
What
Sorry about
is his
that.
first name?
It's Mike.
Oh.
Budenholzer. Rosenberger. Sorry about that. Your reaction to the firing, Craig Karmazin.
Yeah, so I think, Mike has been an incredible coach. You look at the 5 seasons he was here, and you probably would trade what the Bucks had over 5 years only with Golden State, right? So if you take 30 teams in the league and you take a guy who was here for 5 years, he probably had the second best, 5 years of anyone in the NBA. So, the disappointment is sadness for him and his family because we got to know them really well, got to be an incredible part of the community, gave every single thing you can to the team in terms of his heart, his work ethic, his core values, great person, great coach, and, as good a 5-year period as I think, if we could have known going into 5 years that this would be the 5 years, I think we all would have signed up for it.
Was Giannis involved, Craig?
I have no idea.
Oh, come on, you wuss.
No, I really don't know. I legitimately have no idea. I legitimately have no idea. I am in very regular communication with a lot of people in the organization for different reasons, and I have never asked that and have no idea.
But hold on, hypothetically speaking, hold on, Chew, because I want to sit on that for just 1 second. Hypothetically speaking, are you okay with this trend of players, LeBron comes to mind, obviously, as at times having handpicked the guy that he wanted to lead the team, to be the head coach. You okay with this trend of these generational players having a say in who the next head coach is?
Oh, yeah, of course. I think if someone's a generational player, part of that is their mind and part of that is their leadership. And, of course, if we're hiring someone in our office, right, where you're hiring a new news director at WTMJ. We have a lot of people involved in that decision, not just one person, some owner or manager from above. I think you absolutely want to have buy-in from those within the organization who are important, and you trust their judgment, and you want them to have a buy-in and be part of what you're doing moving forward.
How much does that weigh in then? If Giannis Antetokounmpo goes to management and says, I want Nick Nurse, I want, give me some other, Tyronn Lue, I want...
Yeah. If Giannis said to me, I want this person, to me that is absolutely a reason to give that person an interview for the job.
But not necessarily
there's no
the
reason.
job.
It could be anybody. If Giannis said, I want this person, that in and of itself, what Giannis has proven in terms of his commitment, his, just everything he does, I would absolutely give that person an interview no matter what if Giannis thought that highly of someone.
Presumably, Craig, this is going to be a highly sought-after job because of Giannis. Personally, I'm not inspired by the list of head coaches that are out there currently. How does it work in the NBA in terms of coaches who have jobs who maybe want this job because they think it's better than the one they have?
Well, I think, first what we know is that there's no tampering allowed. So, like, when Jen says a name like Ty Lue, Ty Lue has a job. Everyone's understanding is that Steve Ballmer loves his coach in Ty Lue and feels like that there were injuries and other things that were part of that. If at some point a team were to decide or a coach were to decide, like Coach Bud, right? I mean, what he and the Hawks came to a mutual agreement, for him to walk away from the Atlanta Hawks. He didn't get bought out by the Hawks. He didn't get fired by the Hawks. He came to that mutual agreement and then interviewed for jobs, including the Bucks. The Raptors at the time were available, which, may be available as well now. So I think that's kind of how it works, right? And I think the thing, Gabe, I just, the idea that you're not excited about coaches, I think that's so much because it's like a resume thing, right? Like, I think once you get to meet people and hear their vision to how they'd want to run an organization and, what they would want to do scheme-wise, offensively and defensively, there's so many, incredible basketball minds out there. And as you said, this is going to be such a highly sought-after job that, I mean, it's going to be not like, we're going to have to settle for this or this. I mean, you're going to get an incredible basketball coach.
Defend. Why is it not exciting?
I mean, Frank Vogel and Nick Nurse are the two names that are out there, right? Because they've won championships. They've won championships recently. But I'm just not excited and or inspired by either of those coaches because of how they flamed out at their previous jobs. Like, that's just not exciting.
There's so much retread. Why is there so much retread? Like, I understand that it's a we were talking earlier and Chewy was saying there's a fear, there's a nervousness, there's a scared element to when you are successful, relatively speaking, of course, when you are successful and needing to bring a head coach in, you got to nail it, right? When you are middling or you are struggling and you bring someone in, okay, so then your struggles continue, big whoop. Right? You go from struggling for 2 years to struggling for 5 years. But when you are successful and you have this window that the Bucks have, there's so much more pressure to nail the hire. And it feels to me like the names you're getting are just retread, in the NBA. And look, I'd be in for some new blood. I'd be in on some new blood.
Well, I mean, I think you're getting names not from the Bucks, right? So
100%.
You're getting so I don't think we're hearing any names of who the team is actually considering. But there's people. I mean, Kenny Atkinson is a name that comes to mind for me that I was blown away by what he did with the Brooklyn Nets at the time. Like, I just was so impressed with the culture he built and how he got and developed talent, and I was beyond impressed with what he did. The other thing I am a strong believer in is, I just mentioned it, the Bucks over the last 5 years had, again, behind Golden State, I would say this was the best performing organization. I think John Horst and the coaching staff was aligned as any coaching staff and front office could be. So I think also, you don't want to underestimate the possibility of someone from the current coaching staff. And I think at the time, John Horst was not even a name mentioned when the general manager job was open, right? I mean, that was a long search, throughout, tons of candidates, an extended period of time. And it turned out that John Horst, who was already a Milwaukee Bucks part of the front office, was the best candidate. So I think internal and external through a long search is what we're going to have.
I played in a basketball league against Horst, and when he got hired, I went, oh, that guy got hired? Like, I had no idea who he was. Like, I recognized the face once I saw the picture, but we were in some ESPN Milwaukee was in a corporate black basketball league where the Bucks were represented. Had no idea who the guy was.
You were probably like, oh, yeah, that guy actually was like a good player and seemed like a good teammate, but I didn't even realize who that was.
Right.
No
idea. Gabe, did you say that because he sucked on the basketball court? Or he just looked like an ordinary average guy?
Well, I mean, that team was really dominated by Alex Lazary. Like, Alex was – that offense ran through Alex. So he was – I mean, a lot of those guys weren't getting shots up because Alex was getting the majority of the shots for that squad.
Yeah, he was he was exactly what he is. He was the guy in the room who you don't notice first, but was doing everything right. Yep. And like that's what John Horst has been. Like Gabe is totally right. And John Horst was that in the organization before, and he's probably one of the most understated, front office executive of the years in the history of the NBA.
So one of the things that's been out there, Craig, is that people don't want to go back to the Greg Popovich tree, which of course Nick Nurse is a part of, which of course Becky Hammon is a part of, because they feel like Bud was this, example of, well, that didn't work here, so we need to go elsewhere. But isn't Charles Lee off the Bud tree? Which is off the pop
tree.
Tree.
Silly, but wait, did you just say it didn't work here?
No,
what
I'm not.
Work here?
Stop. I'm not saying that. I got this last night when everybody was jumping in my mentions saying we don't want Becky Hammon because she's off of the pop tree, which Bud was off of the pop tree. Again, I find it ridiculous. But if you're going to go with Charles Lee, isn't he off of the Bud tree?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Bud tree, the pop tree, is a tree of incredible coaches who are really well prepared and ready to do the job. And I think we've seen that over the last 5 years. I think the argument people could make over the last 5 years is that the team has not played as well in the postseason as they did in the regular season, and that they underperformed, in 3 of the last 4 years in the postseason versus expectations and based on what they should have had. But I don't think that speaks to, who their mentor was in coaching, right? That might be something about either in-game or, between game adjustments or decision-making in key moments that did or didn't happen, over the last, 5 years. But in no way can anyone look at these last 5 years and look at them as a disappointment in any way. So if the same process is used as last time, and if a similar conclusion is reached as last time, I think we're in pretty good shape.
Craig, is it too risky to tap the college ranks?
When you hear a name like Jay Wright, right? Like there's so many good things that come with him when you think about not only how his teams performed on the court, but then like when you look around the postseason, you're like, wow, Kyle Lowry, that's a winning player. Josh Hart, that's a winning player. Jalen Brunson, that's a winning player. And it's like, oh, wait, all those guys have one thing in common. They all went to Villanova. So, yeah, I think it is absolutely, wherever someone's coached. Like, if they've coached in Europe, if they've coached in college, I wouldn't rule anyone out for any of those reasons. I think if you bring someone in who doesn't have a lot of NBA experience, you better on your bench have a bunch of other people who have a lot of NBA experience. With the size of coaching staffs these days, I don't think that's a concern.
Well, do you consider the Brad Stevens experiment a success? Success. Do you consider it a success?
I don't know. I mean, he's a good-looking guy and all, Jen. But
he's all right.
That's a great question. I mean, and obviously his reign has extended to his front office time. I mean, I think Brad Stevens overachieved when he had less talent, and then I think people in Boston would say there were a year or two where he underachieved. But I also think, being prepared for Kyrie Irving is something that I don't know that, anyone has been able to handle, obviously since his time with LeBron. And, we mentioned Ty Lue, as a name that that I would certainly never tamper with and never bring up his name. But, I think Brad Stevens was a successful NBA coach. I think when they moved on from him, it was the right time, and I was surprised that he got a promotion, but I think Brad Stevens was a success in the NBA, and I went for it, and I was able to successfully say
good job. Successfully say the word. There just aren't a lot of examples like that. There aren't a lot of examples of guys who have made the jump from the college game to the NBA. And then,
which is funny, Jen, that's not only true in basketball, right? It's in the NFL, too, right? Yeah. We've had a lot of people. I mean, the Giants, was Dabble, he was this year, right? Wasn't he a college NFL guy that did
Alabama.
Dable did pretty well?
Yeah, but he also had he had some NFL coaching experience and was an offensive coordinator in the NFL before he became a head coach. Much like
Buffalo,
Pete
he's
Carroll.
pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Much like Pete Carroll had NFL coaching experience in New England before he went to USC and then jumped back into the NFL. I think having that experience in the NFL plus being a college coach is almost necessary at this point to have that success because they are so different.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I want to emphasize, like, Coach Bud had an incredible 5 years here. He's a great person on and off the court. Obviously, he dealt with terrible, terrible personal tragedy recently. But whatever process got us to Coach Bud in the last 5 years, like, bring that on again. I mean, obviously there's times when teams move on, and we see in the English Premier League it happens like every 25 games, it seems. So 5 years is not like the shortest window. So I don't want fans to look at this and say like, oh, we can't do this again because these 5 years. Like, these have been the best 5 years that, like, I think any of us could have imagined, right? Like, so to bring on another 5 years like the last one we've had.
I don't agree.
Chewy,
don't agree.
He raised the bar.
You got the best player in the league, and you got one championship. This is like Favre and Rodgers winning 2 championships.
Chewy,
what?
buddy.
Yeah, Chewy, it's 5 years.
You are the king of win me a 1 championship, then we can suck for 10 years, and now you're going to be they only won 1 in 5 guy?
Not when you're the best team in the league, or you have the best player in the league.
He made them the best team in the league.
One's not enough, Craig. One is not enough.
In 5 years, it absolutely is. If you tell me the next coach in the next 5 years wins another championship, you're going to tell me that those 2 championships in a decade is in a small market for a team that hadn't won in 50 years. You're going to tell me those 2 championships and keeping a team like that together and keeping a star in Milwaukee?
They should have won 2. They should have won 2 in 5 years. I would be much happier with it.
I think we all would have been, and maybe the coach would still be here if he had won 2. But you can't tell me that winning 1 in 5 years is a disappointment, and if the next coach wins another one in the next 5 years,
I disagree because you're putting a lot of weight on the regular season, and no one cares about the regular season. So I don't want to hear about his regular season record.
Wait. So you're going to tell me if Aaron Rodgers had won 2, you wouldn't look at him differently in 10 years? And he was here more than 10 years. If Brett Favre had won 2 in 10 years, neither of those guys won 2. And you're telling me if the Bucs win 2 in 10 years, in the economics of the NBA, where it's impossible for market sizes like us to compete, you're not going to give those coaches and this ownership a ton of credit? That is a joke, Chewy.
Yeah, get him, Craig. Get him.
Muy bueno.
She was like, I panicked. I didn't know what to do. Craig, we got to let you go. Have a great Friday. Happy Cinco de Mayo, as our Spanish friend Chewy is telling everyone today, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, and all the love to Coach Bud, his family, and everything they've done on the court and for this community.
Absolutely. We appreciate you, Craig. We will get to your reaction right after this. 800-990-3776 on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy continues next on 94.5 ESPN.
Let's face it, we put our moms through a lot. I know I did. There's no way you should let Mother's Day slip by this year. Thank your mom or your wife with farm fresh flowers from Bouqs. That's short for bouquets. I got you guys 20% off, so you can thank your moms too. My mom was my best friend. She's not here anymore, but I made sure every single Mother's Day to send her great flowers. You can give your mom regular Mom's Day flowers or make her day spectacular with flowers from Bouqs. Here's what I love about them. Bouqs is different. Their flowers are sourced directly from the best farms and cut fresh, so they last way longer. Mother's Day is May 14th, and don't let it sneak by. Order your Bouqs now, and while you're there, check out their flower subscription so Mom feels your love all year long. Go to Bouqs.com and use promo code KEY for 20% off. That's BOUQS.com, promo code KEY.
Baseball, basketball, pickleball. Those are sports, and people love sports. If you love sports, you should know this. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. Does saving have anything to do with sports? No, but people love sports, so I'm yelling sports out. Hockey, swimming, golf. Not all sports have the word ball in there, so save big when you switch to Progressive. Go sports teams!
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
Great, it's yours. See you then.
Nathan's Tiki-themed bar is swimming in end-of-year party bookings.
Where can I find that many servers? They want headlamps? And I'm gonna need to find a band.
He needs caterers to navigate the rising tide.
No, Mario, not your cousin's cover band.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
What are you trying to do?
I want to stand while I work. Standing desks are all the rage these days.
You know these new desks move up and down, right?
What? They do?
Yeah, they're not messing around here.
This is great. Now, only if I had a chair to swivel around in.
Do you not pay attention?
Well, no wonder I'm not getting much done these days.
Coakley Brothers and Brothers Interiors, the official moving and furniture provider of GKB Milwaukee.
The Club at Lac La Belle is the birthplace of golf in Wisconsin, with a rich history you will feel once you arrive. Experience a round at the Club at Lac La Belle. The redesigned course is open to the public 7 days a week. Schedule your tee time today at clubatlaclabelle.com. This is a golf destination that you will want to play over and over again, and enjoy fine dining and event space after your round. An historic past meets a vibrant future. Go to clubatlaclabelle.com to start your journey.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
So you mentioned Super Bowls and parties and how they don't go hand in hand, which again is an absurd comment by you two, but it's just one of many on the show.
Dumber thing that Chewy has said this morning. Super Bowls and parties don't go hand in hand, or cheddar is not a top 10 cheese.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Lots of reaction rolling in this morning to our question, do you agree with the Bucs firing of Coach Bud? 75% of people saying, yes, I agree. Larry weighing in saying, the bigger question is, does Giannis agree? I think we're all resigned to the fact that if, in fact, they made this move, Giannis was on board.
Giannis and Chris Middleton had a sit-down meal with Mike Budenholzer before he was hired. Like, they were a part of that process. I mean, I can't imagine just because Chris's future with the organization is now more in doubt than it was 5 years ago. So it's hard for me to picture that Giannis not having at least some sort of role in being aware that this was happening and being a part of those discussions.
800-990-3776. That's how you can get in on the show. Dumpy in West Bend weighing in saying, Coach Bud took too long to make adjustments, going down 0-2 in way too many series. That means his assistants were probably smarter than he was. Lots of folks weighing in with suggestions for who they think should be the next head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll get into that at the top of the hour in 2 minutes.
More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
We've got an accident now on 94 westbound right about at the county line. The left lane is blocked right now. We've got backups all the way back to Highway 100, so keep that in mind. Otherwise, northbound 43 slowing down from North Avenue all the way up past Locust. And we've also got some slowdowns on northbound 41 slowing down from about Wisconsin Avenue up past Swan Boulevard. Traffic is brought to you by Fifth Third Bank, custom solutions built around your goals, member FDIC. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast, a slight chance of showers today, mainly to the north, otherwise partly cloudy, a high of 67 at the lake, 74 inland. Tonight, a slight chance of a shower, mostly cloudy, a low of 50. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Explore Milwaukee's iconic Harley-Davidson Museum this spring. The Harley-Davidson Museum campus boasts one-of-a-kind shopping with exclusive Harley gear from 2 new retail stores, an interactive experience gallery, and the Motor Bar and Restaurant. Riverfront dining with daily specials like fish fries and barbecue. And make it a point to ride over on May 4th for Bike Night, where you can stock up with up to 70% off on deals from their factory shop. The Harley-Davidson Museum, 15 years as one of Milwaukee's top tourist destinations.
Life's better with a home policy from American Family Insurance because you'll feel protected no matter how the wind blows. All so you can keep enjoying the home of your dreams. And our expert agents can help you save up to 23% when you bundle home with auto. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. American Family Insurance. Get a quote? Find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Hey, Greg Scalzo here. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI, and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
Showtime. The right way to start your day. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Hold on. Did they have fake boobs back then? I don't think they did.
I'm sure they did. They just
Big
weren't
boobs
as,
and all those injections, and so there's got to be a scale.
It's a fantastic question, Chew. I'm glad you asked it.
DEFCON 20. She wants to get back together.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. That's why you're here. Help me.
You want to get back together with her?
No. What do I do?
Just don't get back together with her.
What if she makes me?
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
The first breast implants from SanFranciscoBreast.com, which feels pretty reputable.
Of course it's San Francisco. Had to be San Francisco.
1961.
Did you hear that they're doing that in the butt now?
A way to approach a possible reconciliation.
Let's get back together. No. I'll tell you this. It is not because of the boob job. Excuse me. Boob enhancement. That would be shallow. And this is the opposite of shallow. This is emotionally magnificent.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue with Gabe Neitzel and Mark Chamorro. Here's Jen Latta.
She wants to ride it, she's trying to hide it. I'm cool as ever, she's too excited. Her man look like
We've lost Mark Chamorro, which is hard to do because he's a huge human being. But we've lost him for the foreseeable future, so we'll have to just rely on the drops that Ashy has back there on the board. Yeah, we got enough of them. I think we can sort of kind of
we have enough
cobble
to really
together.
Have an AI Chewy. I think we could have an AI Chewy for like up to an hour.
Oh, let's do it. Just for this conversation, using the drops
Thanks,
only.
Gabe. Appreciate that.
Ashy has.
Love you. Yeah, thanks.
See if we could have him just.
Your fault for being so good at your job and having so many of them at your disposal already.
I don't, though. I have to search for most of them. I only have 2 at my disposal.
He has to insert himself into the conversation. We are talking about Mike Budenholzer being fired by the Milwaukee Bucks, and now what is next? Journal Sentinel put out a list of candidates, people who are potential candidates for the position, and it's a long list. Gabe, I know you said it's not an inspiring list. You're not like thrilled about the names that are on that list.
I look at the list of people who have head coaching experience who are currently out there very similarly to the way I look at the list of current wide receivers available in the NFL.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeesh.
Yeah, not great, Bob. Just not very inspired by the list that's out there. And I guess I'm just hoping, because the Bucs job is such an attractive job, much like when Craig was referencing Mike Budenholzer, the way he came to an agreement to part ways with the Atlanta Hawks, and that just became the obvious choice for him to come here to Milwaukee. I'm hoping that another really obvious candidate emerges over the course of the next couple of weeks.
So I am going to throw my support behind Becky Hammon. Becky Hammon, who I know a lot of people know her resume. I know a lot of people understand. She is currently the head coach of the Aces in the WNBA. They just won a title this year. But she is best known for being the next person up on Greg Popovich's bench. When Pop would be out, Becky was in, and she led that team to victory a number of times. And there's a lot of people out there who are discrediting her resume and say that she is not the person for the job. And for a number of reasons, some of which are misogynistic, others are not. Some of the criticism is that she doesn't have any head coaching experience in the NBA. I think you have to make that caveat. You have to put that condition on there because she clearly does have head coaching experience. But I'm not exactly sure why there is such a vehemently negative reaction when Becky Hammon's name is brought up, unless it is strictly because she is a woman.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people who just don't want to see a woman leading an NBA team on the bench.
Look, and I understand things came to an not great end for Budenholzer here, but I'm with Craig that the last 5 years have been some of the best. I mean, they've been the best 5 years of the Bucs in my lifetime, because the only other previous time they were good was one season back in the 2000-2001 year for the Bucs, and that was like it. They didn't capitalize on the success that they had of the big three back then. So having the 5 years that they've had to become a perennial contender, yeah, I think it was time to make a change. But Greg Popovich is one of the best basketball minds of this generation. That's undisputed. And if Greg Popovich...
I think you could argue of all time.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you can make that argument. I'm not ready to put a list together, but yes, his name would certainly be on it. If he trusted Becky Hammon to, hey, if I'm unavailable to coach, or if I need to throw a temper tantrum and get tossed from this game with 2 T's, you're up next. If he trusted Becky to be his lead assistant, to me, Becky's the same as what Darvin Ham was to the Bucks all those years before he got that head coaching opportunity. And yeah, now she's in the WNBA. She won a title in the WNBA with the Las Vegas Aces last season. I would absolutely consider her, and the Bucks did consider her back in 2018. If Pop trusts you, everybody else should trust you. Just on a basic principle because of what that man has done for the game of professional basketball.
Not only was Hammond interviewed for the head coaching position in 2018, but she was also interviewed for the general manager position in 2017. The list of her accolades playing the game, right? Playing the game of basketball at the high school level, at the college level, at the professional level, and then transitioning to coaching. To me, that is a difference maker. I'm not saying that she's more qualified than some of the male candidates out there. I'm simply saying she's qualified for the job. So she should get a chance to interview for the job. She should be considered for the job. Apparently, she has interviewed for Charlotte, Portland, and Toronto in recent years. I saw her name attached to a squad this year. Who was it?
Well,
this year.
The Raptors
That's
did.
who it is.
Yeah,
Is that the Raptors? Yeah, it's the Raptors.
They had to get permission.
Correct, because she's employed by the Las Vegas.
So you think of it like anytime you would want to get permission from an NFL coach in like the playoffs, something you still have to go through all those protocols. Same thing here.
Because the WNBA is still a part of the NBA.
Yeah.
So some of the pushback that I got was that she didn't have head coaching experience, which again, you have to caveat it as NBA coaching experience. But I would make the argument that there's a long list, Gabe, of current NBA coaches who didn't have NBA head coaching experience. Look at Eric Spoelstra, who most consider to be one of the best doing it right now, who was a video guy, right, in the Heat organization. Yes, he played college basketball, a video guy in the Heat organization, and then was kind of the heir apparent to Pat Riley. Nobody was sitting there going, well, he doesn't have any head coaching experience in the NBA, so let's not give him a shot.
Same thing with Steve Kerr. When Steve Kerr took over the Golden State Warriors after Mark Jackson, which, Mark Jackson took them as far as they could. Then they decided to roll the dice and hire Steve Kerr.
Dude, Steve Kerr, the first time, he went from analyst to GM with Phoenix. Yeah. And then same thing, no previous experience.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a sharp basketball mind
which
that's ready for the jump.
Nobody who's in the know thinks that Becky Hammon doesn't.
No, but I mean, and look, I understand the safeness of wanting to go with somebody who has had head coaching experience. But just go ahead. If you have a Journal Sentinel subscription, just go ahead. Go to JSO.com. Take a look at the list of people who have head coaching experience. It's not an inspiring list. How do you feel about Mike D'Antoni? How do you feel about Frank Vogel? I know a lot of people like Nick Nurse. I don't. Kenny Atkinson, Craig could... Maybe if I talked with Craig longer, I bet he could talk me into Kenny Atkinson.
Vouch for him.
But, I mean, if you like Charles Lee, who has had a number of different interviews to be a head coach and was the lead assistant for the Bucks this year, stepped into that role after Darvin Ham left. If you think Charles Lee is an intriguing candidate, why wouldn't Becky Hammon be an intriguing candidate?
And that's the thing. Don't sit there. Again, I have no problem if you don't want Becky to be the head coach because you don't want somebody who doesn't have head coaching experience leading this iteration of the Milwaukee Bucks. If that's the pedestal you want to stand on, fine. But then do not throw Jay Wright at me. Don't throw Jay Wright at me, who has no head coaching experience in the NBA, after we just had the conversation with Craig about how challenging it is for guys to make that transition. And maybe Brad Stevens is the exception to that rule, even though I could make the argument that he wasn't wildly successful as the head coach because they moved him up to the front office pretty damn quick. Right? If he was changing the game as a head coach, don't they keep him in that role? Don't they say, wow, we really landed on something here. Let's keep him as the head coach, right? There were bumps in that road for sure. Sam Cassell is a name that's being thrown out there. Also, no head coaching experience in the NBA. So again, just figure out what your reason is for why you don't think Becky would be a good candidate and make sure it's not that she has a vagina.
Would Sam Cassell do the Sam Cassell dance as a head coach if one of his players
He's not
hit a
allowed
big
to
shot.
do it anymore.
If
He's
he
not
doesn't,
allowed
and if he
to.
says he won't, then I don't want him as my
What do
head
you mean
coach.
he's not allowed to?
I'm pretty sure it's against the rules.
Well,
like,
technically,
you gotta.
technically it's against the rules, but
For
physically,
a
like
player,
you could do it.
For a player, it is.
I feel like it would extend to the
I'm
bench
gonna
guys.
I mean,
agree
if he,
on that
just,
one.
if he just turned around and did it to his guys on the bench, like,
God,
turn your back
how
away
awesome
from
would that be? That would be
just,
the cool. Now, all right, hire Sam Cassell. Now, just for
Can't
that,
we-
I just want it once.
Can't we, grandfather that in for Sam
Because
Cassell?
he was the guy who
was
did it.
correct. Like, nobody else should do it, but he's still around. He's the one who originally did it. It's okay.
Literally grandfathering in Sam Cassell's balls.
Well, not like...
Okay, so
Are they grandfather balls?
Just so old.
Ryan and McGonigal weighing in saying the next Bucks head coach should be Shaka Smart. I think Ryan is being tongue-in-cheek with that one. But again, no head coaching experience at the NBA level. And if that is going to be your criteria, then you're going to have to thin your list. Somebody hit me up on Twitter saying that the guys would have to buy in and respect Becky Hammon as though that weren't a de facto default setting.
Yeah,
Why in the world wouldn't the guys buy in? Becky Hammon has an incredible, unbelievable resume in the basketball space. I think Drew Holiday, every chance he gets, defaults to what a badass his wife is. His wife, Lauren Holiday, right? Every chance he gets, right? Lauren Holiday, a two-time Olympian, a gold medalist. Lauren Holiday, one of the best players to ever play at UCLA. Lauren Holiday, who is being inducted into the Soccer Hall of Fame, I believe, this week. You're telling me Drew Holiday wouldn't be on board with Becky Hammon?
Well, if that's a criticism for Becky, that's a criticism for a lot of people, right? Like, you would have to buy... if there's someone that you don't know coming into the organization, there's going to be a feeling out process that, okay, maybe you have to buy in. Maybe they go out and hire one of these rising assistants that's on this list, Jay Larinaga, who has been the lead assistant under Ty Lue.
Yes,
for
we
the
love
Clippers.
saying Larinaga.
So, wouldn't you have to also buy into him?
Yes, but the idea was that would be default, right? You would default buy into a male head coach, but she would have to work that much harder to convince the guys that she deserved their respect.
I would like to think that after all this time and the success that the Bucks have had, especially with this core that was put together by John Horst, that was signed off on by this leadership group, now led by Wes Edens, that there'd be a trust between the players and that group that they're not just going to hire someone just to hire them. I think there's an inherent trust between them. So I think that they know that whoever gets hired next, the Bucks have done their due diligence on them. So there should be a level of trust there initially. But I mean, just with any player coach situation, there's going to have to be a building up further of that trust, whether it's Becky Hammond, whether it's Mark Jackson, Mike D'Antoni, whoever they end up hiring, there's going to have to be that. And I would like to think that even if they hire Becky Hammond, there's not going to be a revolt just because she's a woman.
I mean, Wes Matthews' lead trainer is Aaron Monfrey. You guys remember Aaron Monfrey from Marquette, basketball player at Marquette? Yeah. Just sharpshooter, absolute badass on the court. She is Wes Matthews' head athletic trainer. Trains him every day. What is he, 37 years old, 35 years old? I mean, the dude's getting up there. He trusts Aaron, a woman, to guide him through his training process, on some level keeping him in the league, right? From a health standpoint, from a physical standpoint. This is not your grandpa's problem with women in authority generation, guys. So to put that and project that on these players, I think it's selfish. I think it is so short-sighted. These guys do not feel the same way about women in these roles as your granddaddy did, right? And I'll speak to my own experience. When I was younger, my dad would say really off-color things about women, right? Especially women in authority. C word this and B word that and then P word this. And, and I finally got to him and I said,
you know about potatoes back then?
Yeah, exactly. Dad, those are the same things that jagbags say to me in my Twitter mentions. It's the same stuff. I said, you want me to start putting you in that category with these jerk faces who can't possibly give women an ounce of credit for doing something in a male-dominated space? And he kind of marinated on that for a while. And he realized that every time he was making a comment about a woman politician or a woman police officer or a woman who was in a space that was traditionally occupied by men, that he was basically projecting that onto me and doing the same garbage that I would get in my Twitter mentions from the lowest of the low. And he changed his tune. And I guess I hope the people out there are getting to a place where women, especially a woman like Becky Hammon, who has all of the experience in the world and who has won at every single stage and every single phase and has the endorsements of a Greg Popovich, of a Pau Gasol, who says that I've been in the NBA for 17 years, I've won 2 championships, I've played with some of the best players of this generation, I've played under 2 of the sharpest minds in the history of sports in Phil Jackson and Greg Popovich, and I'm telling you, Becky Hammon can coach. I'm not saying she can coach pretty well, I'm not saying she can coach enough to get by, I'm not saying she can coach almost at the level of the male NBA coaches, I'm saying she can coach, period. I guess I hope that the fans out there of NBA basketball can get on board with those great minds and give the lady a shot.
The trust that exists, that I believe exists between the ownership and management like John Horst and the team that I believe exists, I also think should exist between the fans and that group. Because that group, the ownership group, has gotten us John Horst, who arguably is the best general manager we have in this state today. The way that you want Brian Gutekunst to be aggressive and go after players, John Horst has done that. John Horst continuously is trying to add to his team to give them the best chance to win a championship. I think that you would trust, if they hire Becky Hammon, that she's the best person for the job. That they're going to do their due diligence. They're not just going to hire her just to hire her. If she's the best person for the job, I have no doubt they're going to hire her. If she's not, then they'll hire someone else.
Who's more invested in the success of the Milwaukee Bucks? The front office? The people who work for the organization? Or a bunch of fans out there who, when the team loses in the first round of the playoffs, write off the squad? I'm going to guess it's the people who are making that decision. Now, that's not to say she's going to get the gig. It's not to say. But if you look at her resume, blind, take the names off. It'd be hard to pass up an interview with somebody with that resume.
I have no doubt she's going to get it. She got interviewed the last time this job was open. I don't know if she gets a second interview, but I would not be shocked if she is on the short list of people that they already have internally because she interviewed once before. I guess I wouldn't be shocked to see her get interviewed again.
800-990-3776. Do you want to see Becky Hammon on the list of candidates, on the list of those being interviewed for the Milwaukee Bucks head coaching vacancy? 800-990-3776.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
We've got an accident on westbound 94 at the county line. Looks like it was in the left lane. Now it's off to the left shoulder. Still seeing delays all the way back to the zoo interchange for that. Otherwise, everywhere else, not seeing any other delays. Traffic is brought to you by the Club at Lac La Belle, the birthplace of golf in Wisconsin. Schedule your tee time at clubatlaclabelle.com and start your journey. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. A slight chance of showers today, mainly to the north. Otherwise, partly cloudy, a high of 67 at the lake. 74 inland tonight, a slight chance of a shower, mostly cloudy, a low of 50. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Gabe Neitzel here this week on the tee. Stephen Watson and I are going to discuss the latest elevated event on the PGA Tour. Plus, I think, finally, maybe we're getting good enough golf weather that we can get outside, play some golf, and talk about that. It's all coming up Monday at 6 o'clock on the tee, 94.5 ESPN and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
On the tee with Gabe and Steven. Mondays at 6 on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Wisconsin Golf Trips.
Well, no surprise, the Potawatomi Sportsbook has already been a raging success. Wisconsin's response to sports betting has been incredible. And joining me to talk a little more about that is Stephanie Staudinger, Senior PR Specialist for Potawatomi. So many people have already made their way out to Potawatomi Casino Hotel to experience the sportsbook. Stephanie, what can you tell us about that?
Hey, yes, they have, and we are so happy with the response. We have 20 kiosks, and in fact, we actually ordered more. They're on the way to make placing those bets easy. Those kiosks, they're on the second level just off the skywalk, and they're also on the northwest end of the casino floor. And to streamline your experience, we have it so you can place your bets ahead of time. You can build them. Go to paysbig.com, head to the sportsbook section, pick your wagers, and then when you generate that QR code, bring that with you to the casino when you arrive, to the kiosks. Watch and see if you win big.
What other excitement is happening on the casino floor at Potawatomi Casino Hotel?
We have some promotions going on as well. It's our Bird Bash game show. You can win up to $50,000 in cash. Play with your Firekeepers Club card now through May 25th to earn entries. Then just be here on Thursday nights as we draw winners. 3 will advance to the Bird Bash game show. We also have our popular gift card promotion. Each Wednesday in May, you can win 500 and use anywhere prepaid gift cards. Just play with your Firekeepers Club card to earn entries now through May 31st.
So many people will be looking for places to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. What does Potawatomi Casino Hotel have in store?
Come on over to the Canal Street Cafe. They have a green chili chicken enchilada dinner, or there's a taco platter available at the Potawatomi Marketplace. And who doesn't love sweets? Canal Street Cafe has cinnamon sugar churros and Tres Leches cake, and paysbig.com will have all your details.
So many exciting things happening at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Get down there for 24/7 sports betting or enjoy some of these other promotions or great eats that Potawatomi has to offer right now.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank. And you know, there's more to being a local Wisconsin bank than perfectly pronouncing Oconomowoc or Waukesha. Or is it Waukesha? But rest assured, at Great Midwest Bank, we understand the local community and economy because we're a part of it. At GMB, we provide customized lending products that others just can't offer. Experience a hometown banking difference. Head to greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
You're listening to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
He hates the ending of all comedies. Apparently doesn't like happy endings.
I love happy endings. Don't take it that far.
Muy bueno.
Maybe that's a vote for Groundhog Day for you.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Come a little closer than you see. Come on, come on. Things are not always what they seem to be. Come on. Do you understand?
We have reconnected with Mark Chimura. And that makes me happy to hear.
Bueno.
How you doing, big guy?
Everything okay over there? Was it a Cinco de Mayo accident?
Somebody hitting the margaritas a little early?
There was an issue. It's actually a really good story. Yeah, what the heck? I'll tell it.
Yes. Yeah, let's go.
So my wife, obviously, well, not obviously, but you guys know, is a big runner. So on this island, the sidewalks are kind of tough to even walk on, right? But they have a beautiful bike path that they just put on, which is very wide, which is unbelievable for running. But she chooses to run on the sidewalk. So about 2 years ago, she's running, and it's a very small island. She's running by the fire department and falls, trips on the concrete, and scuffs everything up. And I'm like, a woman in front of a fire station happens to fall where the firemen all come out and attend to her. I'm like,
You think
something,
you think she did it on purpose?
something smells afoot. So, as you guys know, I wasn't on the air for like the last 2 segments because I got a call or a text that I fell again in the same spot. But this time, fell on her face, big shiner on the face, scuffed up knee.
Can't have the firefighter say
Yeah, but Jen, now I have to fly back with her with a big bruise on her face. You know how many dirty looks I'm going to get? Do you know how many dirty looks I'm going to get?
All of them. All of the dirty looks.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah. That's so interesting that you say that. When I was in college, I had a black eye from playing baseball with my brother. He pickled me. We were playing running bases in the yard. Put his hand in front of my face. Put his hand in front. You know what I mean when I say he pickled me. Not what you're thinking as you turn away from the camera. He put his glove in front of my face and the ball, boom, exploded right there in my eye. My boyfriend said the same thing. He's like, I'm not going anywhere with you. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, everyone's going to think I hit you. I go, no one is going to think that. Sure enough, he would not go anywhere with me because he was so concerned about people thinking that he had slugged me.
Especially when, what happened to you? I fell running. Like, is that like that?
I fell down the stairs.
That does not sound like a plausible excuse as to why someone has a black eye.
Yeah, I know. I hear you, Chew. I mean, can she wear a hat or sunglasses?
Yeah, get her some big aviators.
It's right on the cheekbone, so it's pretty swollen. But she does. I mean, walking, she's okay. She struggles a little bit walking, but running can be a challenge, as we now know. So I don't know.
Well, it sounds like she's okay otherwise, right? She's okay.
Yeah, she is. She's good.
Okay.
Wait, you're flying back Southwest? Can you strategically check in at a different time? But tried to save a seat.
Yeah,
for
this
you,
is
hon,
probably
but no,
Gabe.
She can't.
Gabe,
somebody took
this is probably the only time that I'm going to go from like A7 volunteer to go to C52.
No, honey. You get on first. I'll hang back.
Yes.
Oh, that burrito's not sitting well. I got to use the bathroom. Wait till get on the plane last. Oh, I'm sorry that happened to her this morning. I did love how when you started the story, you said, "This island."
I mean, come on, man.
Rich. So rich.
No, it's just comfortable. That's all it is.
Because it's away
Very
from
comfortable.
other people.
Yeah, you can only fit so many people on the island.
Knew that we could have played the If You Were on a Desert Island game with Chewy this whole time. We could have played any version of that game with Chewy. Unbelievable.
What game is that?
If you were on a deserted island, would you take blah, blah, blah? You never played any of those games?
One album you would take with you on a deserted island.
The only human I know on an island.
Chewy, are you doing anything for Cinco de Mayo?
Well, I was. Muy bueno. Planes have kind of changed a little bit.
Now there's...
I think it'll be margaritas at home tonight.
I feel like he's justified in this. Is this weird? Like, I know that we don't want to be poking fun at what could be a very serious subject, but I feel like he's justified in not wanting to be seen in public with his wife, who has a busted cheek now because of the perception that he gave it to her.
Yes.
Yeah, how many times would she have to say, I fell, before someone's like, did you? Like, I think, like, once, probably, and like, look at Chewy.
They're still not buying it.
Yeah. Blink twice.
What could you say to where people buy it? I had cheek implants? I mean, that might work.
What is with you and the implants this week?
I think people do get cheek implants.
Well, yeah, we talked about this yesterday.
You went scuba diving, you came up too quick, the suction got to your eyes, you got the black eyes that way, like on Seinfeld.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah.
I mean, what's a believable story, though? Yeah, I agree with you, Gabe. The running ain't going to get it done. I mean, what could I say where it's okay to sit in public tonight out, having some margaritas or something?
I've got it. Okay.
What?
And I did this because I played pickleball for the first time yesterday. You guys were playing pickleball, and because she's shorter than you were going for this ball at the same time, and you accidentally got her face with the paddle.
The more details, the more fake it sounds, just so you guys know.
I'm not a great liar.
Keep it simple, stupid.
I mean, Ashton did hurt himself playing pickleball.
Did you really hurt yourself playing pickleball?
I was trying to get a ball, and I scraped my knee a little bit. Little cut down there.
In fairness, the pickleball courts that are in the avenue,
they're dangerous.
Like it's like the rec court where it's got the little holes in it. It's like a plastic like tile that you put on top of it, so it's a pretty firm surface. And if you go down on it, So
and he's so tall, it's a long fall.
Yeah, I mean, he went down, scuffed up the knee, and
it hurt, blood everywhere.
I got bruise time though, right? I got bruise time. Because the bruise won't come immediately. It won't come immediately. Like if you get punched in the face.
Go ahead. I gotta continue with whatever you're saying here.
Like if you get punched in the face, I mean, it doesn't bruise immediately. It's swollen.
Yeah.
But it won't bruise. So I probably have.
I don't know, till 1 o'clock.
It'll bruise by tonight?
Like maybe you can have lunch, but by the time you want to have dinner,
it's like a Polaroid picture. Yeah, you got 15 seconds or so, but that picture's gonna show up, buddy. Okay.
But I really love Cinco de Mayo. It's one of my favorite holidays. I just love it. It's better than New Year's. It's better, and maybe not the 4th, but it's a great holiday. It's
Muy
fun.
bueno.
We had everything planned out tonight.
What was the plan? Okay.
I don't think. Well, our plan is you can't really go out for Mexican because they'll just be too packed. So I think we're going Italian.
Shocking.
And then going
Sausage.
to listen to a sax player at a hotel around
that'd be
here. So
cool.
I guess that's not really Cinco de Mayo-ish, though, but I think if you have a margarita, then you're covered.
Yeah, tacos. Are you gonna? You're gonna have
bueno.
Italian and a margarita.
Spaghetti
Ooh,
tacos.
God, that stew in your stomach is gonna be nasty.
with the tequila.
I just had another idea. What if you gave yourself a black eye, Chewy, and then you guys would be matching, and everyone would be like,
say
"Hmm, I
we
wonder
got
what
beat
happened."
up?
So you
Yeah,
guys are
got
professional
mugged.
wrestlers, and you're a tag team,
Who's-
and
who's
you
to
just
say?
caught the
Now
elbow wrong.
So
you're Jim Carrey from Liar Liar beating himself
I'm
up
just
in the
thinking.
bathroom. What are you
So-
doing?
So you're saying I got to go Gone Girl with a hammer and hit myself in the cheek?
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty
just
much.
yeah. I think it's a
I
great
don't think
idea.
I can do that.
That's
I'm
brilliant.
kicking my ass.
Or do I just roll with it and go, she just doesn't listen?
I would
I'm
not do
against
that.
that one.
I would not do that.
Yeah.
I would do not, under any circumstances, do that.
Listen,
because
Is
that leads
better
to
or
you
worse than Jen pickling her
being
brother?
escorted off the plane.
It was my brother
That is
pickling
a
me,
good
you
point.
buffoon.
Sorry, was that better or worse than Jen's brother pickling her?
I do appreciate, as the resident person on the show who loves making people feel uncomfortable, I do appreciate how uncomfortable that would make all of the people in your presence. I actually kind of like that, you know?
Don't do that.
What? Hold on, Jen, because I have a question here. What does pickling have to do with baseball?
We were playing
Like
running
when
bases.
you said you were pickled.
Because,
Yeah.
you know, when you've got two people, you got the one in the middle, you're trying to tag them, that's called a pickle.
Oh.
You know, haven't
Okay.
you ever A, played baseball, or B, seen
the
Sandlot?
I think we called it something different. She just yelled at me. I'm in trouble.
Oh, God.
Wait, are you going to be able to stick around and play Weekend Rich?
Yeah,
or
you have
gotta
to
go get
stay.
yelled
You
at?
have to stay.
Her mom just texted her.
Oh, no. Oh,
See, I thought she was.
Oh, no.
I thought she was joking when she got out of the car and said, "Don't mention this on the air."
Oh, no!
I feel like we're losing
No,
Chewy.
we're not losing him.
I
He's
feel
got
like
to
we're
play
losing
We
him.
Can Reach You. 800-990-3776. This is your Q2 call to play We Can Reach You. Somebody gets the over, somebody gets the under. We'll see how many questions Chewy can get right about not crazy stuff, not things he shouldn't know, but actual conversations we had on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy this week. 800-990-3776. Call me now.
Full show podcasts, interviews, and special content is available right now at WisconsinOnDemand.com. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on 94.5 ESPN.
Westbound 94 still dealing with an accident right at the county line. It's off on the left shoulder, and it's a little bit backed up all the way back to Highway 100. But other than that, we've got actually a pretty good ride shaping up for the rest of the system. No other major delays. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast, a slight chance of showers today, mainly to the north, otherwise partly cloudy, a high of 67 at the lake, 74 inland. Tonight, a slight chance of a shower, mostly cloudy, a low of 50. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Are you looking for the perfect restaurant for your next night out? Then make Aria, the acclaimed restaurant inside St. Kate, your next dinner destination. Specializing in artisanal American cuisine, Aria features carefully prepared seasonal entrees along with a robust selection of craft cocktails, wine, and local beer. Join them on Sundays for the restaurant's famous trademark chicken, served family style with sides like mashed potatoes, goat cheese biscuits, and more. Make your plans today to dine at Aria. Learn more and make reservations at aria@stkate.com. That's aria@stkate.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. We have the pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power. Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with a set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan-A-Tool program and borrow the tools you need to get the job done.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the MPD Group 2021. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool.
Bundling and saving with Geico is an easy choice, so you're free to ponder life's big questions, like, what's the best animal in the world if not humans? I'd strongly consider ducks to be somewhere up there on the list. Think about it. Ducks can swim, ducks can fly, and ducks can walk on land. They have access to all terrains. They are the ultimate animal. And they wiggle their butts when they walk, which is funny. Yeah, ducks are awesome. End of story. Bundling and saving with Geico. It's an easy choice.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is a bacon or sausage egg croissant plus small seasoned potatoes for $3. It's the breakfast that don't miss. So if you did miss Wendy's breakfast, don't imagine fresh cracked eggs, sizzling sausage, crispy bacon, and block out those hot, buttery, flaky croissants. Croissants don't really make a sound, but if they did, for a breakfast that don't miss, Wendy's is that breakfast. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Select a request $3 breakfast deal to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte or combo orders.
Life's better with an auto policy from American Family Insurance. No matter what dreams you're driving towards. That's because our expert agents will make you feel totally protected with the right auto coverage at the right price. You'll also save up to 23% when you bundle auto with home. American Family Insurance. Get a quote, find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
It's Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
The other side of the world, and I'll let you know if I want to come back and coach your little game.
Ian Peterman.
Ian Rappaport tweeting yesterday, and I thought this was interesting. The Broncos the last 2 weeks. You guys done?
I got more.
On 94.5 ESPN.
I think this is my favorite segment of the week.
it.
I'm so glad we do it on Fridays. It's a great way to kick things off, get into your Cinco de Mayo. It is the Week in Reach You, Ashton.
Think you know the show better than the average ESPN Milwaukee fan? Now's your chance to prove it. It's time to play the Week in Reach You.
Who do we got today, Ashton?
We've got Brent in Waukesha who's taking the under, and Jackie in Grafton who has the over. I feel pretty good about the under this week. Not
You
gonna
do?
lie. I'm not going to lie.
Chewy, how do you feel?
I feel okay. I blamed Ashy for having told the story on the radio, so I was in a mild sweat, but now I'm okay.
So should I be in a super sweat? What the hell?
Is Ashy Bash 2023 in jeopardy?
I'm going to be bashed pretty soon.
You're his human meat shield. You're a meat shield.
Yeah, you're welcome for that, by the way. I'll accept it. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You owe me.
All right, I actually feel pretty good about Chewy's chances. However, it always comes down to the audio clips, which I do not have access to, and I don't know what they are before we hear them. So that's always the mystery when it comes to these. So I've got 5 questions. Chewy gets 3 right. We hit the over. He gets 3 wrong. We hit the under. Question number 1, Mr. Chimura. What medical procedure were you talking about in this clip?
Did you hear that they're doing that in the butt now? That was silicone implants in the butt.
Yeah, butt implants. Butt implants is a correct answer. We're off to our rip-roaring start.
I definitely told some people that yesterday. I go, presented without context. Mark Chimura on our show said, you know, they're doing that in the butt now.
Did you hear? They're doing that in the butt now.
There is a song.
This question, Chew, starts with the audio clip.
If I thought it was cancer, I would have used the whole can.
Can you remember what the can would be filled with? Do you remember what the
Can I hear
can would be filled
one
with?
more time? If I thought it was cancer, I would have used the whole can. I have no idea.
Happened on yesterday's show. Jen was talking about her age spot.
Birthday mark.
Which one's better?
I don't know.
Liquid nitrogen.
Both rotten.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, now you remember.
All right. Chewy is 1-1. This seems to be the swing question. You get this right, and then you just have to get one of the last 2 right. So what legendary tennis player were we talking about when you said this about hair?
The smell of someone else's hair on your head has got to be disgusting, right? That was Andre Agassi.
Yay! You didn't know that was a wig.
I had no idea. No idea.
All right, 2-1.
He looks better with a shaved head, though, don't you think?
I agree.
Yeah, he looks much better with the shaved head.
Yeah.
Would agree. All right, Chew. You just got to get one of the last two right. And this one, much like question 2, starts with an audio clip.
I like a handful. A handful is perfect.
A handful of what?
Nuts?
Chewy!
Come on, man.
A handful of nuts.
Handful is perfect.
You asked the question yesterday. Are you a butt or a boob man?
Oh, handful of butt.
He's like, how can I be so stupid?
God, and here we are again at the last question.
It comes down to the last question more often than
Vegas. I feel pretty good about this.
All right, so Chewy is 2-2. It all comes down to the final question, whether or not he is going to hit the over and win Week in Rechew. What sitcom featuring elderly humans were we talking about that caused you to ask this great question?
Hold on. Did they have fake boobs back then? Jen brought it up.
Okay.
We were talking about Hold on. Did they have fake boobs back then?
Read the question again.
Do I have to get both shows or just one?
No, you just got to answer. You just got to answer. No one say a word.
All right, one was Sex in the City.
That was
and the other one was they all had like blue hair. Golden Girl.
Did not think he was going to pull that out.
Wow!
Sex in the City was shocking.
I was going to say.
Them.
I know. I was thinking what was the one with the diner?
Cheers.
Kind of the same kind of show.
One with the.
Don't you remember the old people in the diner, Maud or something like that?
You're just naming old people names. That's Maud.
Yeah, Mabel, Mildred.
No, there was a diner show. I can't think of the name of it.
Diners, Drivers, and Dives?
No.
By the way, that all 5 of those questions were from the first 15 minutes of yesterday's show.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't go too far back in the archives for that. So who was our big winner this morning,
Jackie
Ashley?
in Grafton wins, so congrats to Jackie in Grafton.
All righty. Well, that was good, Shu. See, now you can take that into the weekend.
Yeah, I feel muy bueno.
There it is. Have you been brushing up on your Spanish? You got any more Spanish for us? Don't say your gato.
No, but no, but I have a bunch of guys working here who are Hispanic, and they're great. And I just talk to them, but I make stuff up because they yell constantly, and they're always talking. And I want to be part of the group, so I'll just go, Yabarodiana, Zitatoi.
Have you thought
to
ask them to actually teach you some Spanish?
Yeah. This feels like an opportunity
that
you're wasting.
I mean, you are
They call me
entertaining.
muy bueno. Hold on. They call me loco.
Yeah,
You
that
are.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is that?
That tracks. That's
Means crazy.
yeah.
Oh.
No, it doesn't. It means train. Why do you think they call them locomotives?
Well, that's kind of what I thought it meant.
Yeah, you're a train.
You thought it meant train?
Muy loco?
You're just gonna
Big train.
Very crazy.
Big train.
Yeah. So I talk to them much like my version of O Canada.
Yeah, Les Blues, whatever it was. Souffle. Heard that one the other day.
The fleur is an actual word. It means flowers.
How many languages do you think you can speak?
You can't even speak one.
Yeah. The over-under's
That's a
half, and I'm
very
taking
good
the
point.
under.
Struggle with Venmo and custard
You said it right
shop.
that time.
Will you speak to people in Spanish today if, in fact, you do go out for Cinco de Mayo?
Muy bueno. Of course.
You should have said C.
You told us that you'll do the olas,
Si.
right? You got to get a certain number of olas.
What is it? What's buenos?
Buenos noches means
Buenos.
good night. Buenos
Good
dias
night.
means good
What's
day.
the morning one?
Buenos dias.
What's good morning?
Buenos dias.
What's good day?
Buenos dias.
I don't think so.
He's like, so how do you know if you're wishing him a good day or a good morning?
It's like when you're on Hawaii. In Hawaii. Aloha.
Aloha.
Is goodbye and hello.
Yeah, it's very confusing. Are you coming or are
But
you
what's
going?
the follow-up? What's the follow-up? Because I'll say buenos dias.
Yeah.
What do they say back?
Buenos dias.
Because they say it all the time. I can't.
Well, I say
No.
bien means good, or muy bien, very good.
Oh, muy bien.
Yeah, very good. Muy bien y tú means very good, and you, how are you doing?
Okay.
And you just say soy chewy, and that's it.
Soy chewy. Yes,
Very
work
edgy.
that in.
Soy chewy. Yeah, it means I am chewy.
What's soy? What's
It'll be
soy
like,
mean?
I am
Soy
Groot.
is I am.
Soy is I am.
You'll be like Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. Soy chewy.
You can do
Soy chewy. You just have
Vamos
to
a
change,
la playa if you're going to the beach.
change your inflection.
So what's yo no soy?
I'm not here.
Yo no
I'm
soy?
not. Yo no.
I believe that's
That's-
I don't like.
No me gusta.
So what's que
Yeah.
paso,
There
you
it-
stupido?
there it
I thought I
is.
was your number one vato.
There it
That
is.
means, yeah.
What's vato?
You should stop saying it.
Yep.
It's what?
Stop saying it.
Don't say it.
It's a
Correct.
it's a swear word?
Yep.
Come on.
All right, this has been your Spanish 001 on Jen, Gabe, and
Muy
Chewy.
bueno.
Was the show that you were talking about Mel's Diner?
Yes.
Okay, shout out to Larry who just
If you look-
emailed me. Literally,
All right,
there's
if
nothing.
Larry emailed you.
There
that's
is
the answer.
nothing in the like sub. The only thing in this email is the subject of the email, which is Mel's Diner. Nothing in the
800
body. That's it.
800-990-3776. You can always get to us on the talk and text line. Although John in Kenosha wants to know if the show was Alice, Flo the waitress, Kiss My Grits.
Yes, that was it.
Okay.
Yes, that was
He
Alice.
doesn't know
Okay,
what
so
the
we
hell
could have
it
just
is.
said anything there. It was. It was.
Look,
I gotta go ask these guys what that word meant that you said as a swear.
Okay. We'll take a break on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Roll on right after this.
Change the way you do business and take more control of the payment process with Fifth Third Bank's Treasury Management Solutions. Their market expertise and managed services streamline the entire payment process and integrate with your existing systems, giving you more control than ever. With their suite of payment solutions, you will soon recognize new revenue sources that can save time, offset operating costs, and improve the bottom line. All customized for you and your business. It's what Fifth Third Bank does. Fifth Third Bank, National Association, custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy continues next on 94.5 ESPN.
All Brewers games are on sale now. Next up, the crew battles the Royals for a weekend duel. Friday, May 12th through Sunday, the 14th. Fulfill your Jedi destiny at Star Wars Night on Saturday, the 13th, and receive a Luke Skywalker bobblehead with purchase of a special ticket package. Plus, take home a one-of-a-kind Brewers wristlet for 10,000 moms on Mother's Day. Sunday, May 14th. Presented by American Family Insurance. Get your seats today at brewers.com/promotions.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-283-5948. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-283-5948 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-283-5948 to see if you qualify. That's 800-283-5948.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use ClosetBox instead? ClosetBox is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for unused storage space. ClosetBox's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. ClosetBox's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. ClosetBox has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code RADIO50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-283-5948. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-283-5948 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-283-5948 to see if you qualify. That's 800-283-5948.
You're listening to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Can I be Chuck Woolery?
Yeah, Tiny Mike.
Tiny Mike.
Average.
I mean,
no, I want to ask the questions. Tiny Mike.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Here we go.
Get pumped, Milwaukee, because Potawatomi Casino Hotel is bringing 24/7 sports betting to the great city of Milwaukee with the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I may just be at the Sportsbook this evening, making some bets. Not on the local teams, because I'm not allowed. But you can enjoy the convenience of self-service kiosks, odds boards, wall-to-wall TVs, free parking, great food, and a full-service bar. Put your game face on. It is time to bet big and bet bold at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, we want to give you an opportunity to win as well. Hear me out. You ever heard of a baby pool? You know, when a lady is expecting a baby, and you're not exactly sure when the baby's going to arrive, so you put a little coin on a certain day and say, I'm taking June 11th. June 11th is when I think the baby will be born, so you get June 11th. Well, we are going to do something similar to that here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, but we're calling it the Big Dog Baby Pool. The Big Dog Baby Pool
Mercedes Madness
is when Mercedes Lewis signs with the New York Jets. It feels like it's inevitability, right? We've seen all of the other guys who Rodgers has had relationships with sign with the New York Jets, Randall Cobb being the most recent one. So we are giving our loyal listeners the chance to select a day. Any day, really any day, right? Today,
Any
tomorrow,
day,
the next day, the next day.
So the contest actually runs from today until either week 1, so September 7th, or until he signs on whatever that day is.
800-990-3776. You got to give us a call. You got to pick a day. Whoever gets the day correct wins a prize pack from ESPN Milwaukee, from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. So, Gabe, and you don't get to keep this day because we're opening up all of the days for all of our loyal listeners, but what day would you say Mercedes Lewis is going to sign with the New York Jets?
Can I take today?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, today.
Really?
Yeah.
It's going to happen sooner rather than later, right? They're already in their off-season workouts. Why not?
But I'm gonna say he doesn't want to go to the off, and he kind of earned that right not to go to the off-season workouts. That's why I'm gonna take something down the line. I'm gonna say June 1.
I like June 1 also. Today, May 5th, June 1. What is the first day of the next off-season workouts?
June 13th, or no, well, May, I guess, sometime in May, and then June 13th, I think, is usually like the training camp open.
I'll say June.
Well, mandatory minicamp.
Same difference.
June 11th. June 11th. Now, again, I do not get June 11th, and Gabe does not get today, and Chewy does not get whatever day it was he said. I already forgot. But you guys can. 800-990-3776. Call us here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, and we're going to keep this open. So you can call us anytime. And Ashton has a calendar in front of him, an Excel document. He's going to put your name and your number and your contact information on the Excel document. And whoever gets the Big Dog Baby Pool, Mercedes Madness, correct, will win a prize package from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Read me off the list, Gabe, if you will.
I wish I could.
Oh.
She deleted the tweet and then put up a tweet with a video where she explained. So obviously I don't.
Really?
Yeah. Like the original tweet that she sent out.
Diana Rossini.
Yes.
Who
does not
posted
exist.
the list of the players that Rodgers would like to have.
So then she replaced it on March 14th with a video of her talking on SportsCenter with whatever that list is.
Yes, that was after Rodgers went on McAfee and said whatever her name is, if that's even her name, that whole thing. It's so silly.
She's some government agent. That's even your name, Diana.
But we know that who was on Randall Cobb was on
Randall
the list.
Cobb. So I believe it was Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, Mercedes Lewis,
OBJ
was on the
which
list.
is not.
Yeah.
So OBJ is the only one who
went somewhere else.
Yes.
Mason Crosby? No.
Not on
Mason
the list.
was.
But that's an inevitability too, right? Like maybe not.
I don't know who the Jets kicker
Maybe
is.
Mason would just retire.
They got Greg Zuerlein.
I think they like Zuerlein, don't they? I mean, if there is a team that's looking to win a championship, they should sign Mason Crosby.
I got the list right here. Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, Mercedes Lewis, and Odell Beckham Jr. So Mercedes Lewis, it is just a matter of time, right?
Yeah.
It is just a matter of days before Mercedes Lewis decides.
Where else is he going?
He's going to be a member of the New York Jets, and we want our loyal listeners to have an opportunity to capitalize on this decision. 800-990-3776. Take a day, pick a day. We put you on the calendar, and then when he signs, we take the name of whoever is on that day, and they win a prize pack. It's very simple.
And it actually makes sense for him to go there because their offensive line isn't very good. So if they want to run the football,
blocking.
Bring in the guy who blocks for him.
Blocking. Now, you cannot text it in. You have to call. And Ashton is willing to take those calls. You cannot text it in. There's just a complicated element of who got it first, what did we see first versus the timestamp and all that stuff. So we are asking that you call in 800-990-3776. Take a day, pick a day for Big Dog Baby Pool Mercedes Madness here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. And you don't want to do it today. You can think about it and come back next week.
I mean, I would be of the thinking that, you come in next week, you're going to be a little late.
Now,
But
there
that's
are
just me.
some people who are saying that he will re-sign with the Packers because he would be that solution, Gabe, to that veteran presence. Chew, you're in on this as well. The veteran presence that you need for that young receiving core. Would you want Mercedes Lewis back on the Green Bay Packers?
Not really. I don't see him playing much. They want to get these two younger guys up to speed. Plus, they're not going to really win a lot. So, for him, it'd be a money thing, and I don't see him making anything more than the veteran minimum. And he could go to a team like the Jets who have a shot at winning the Super Bowl. So I would say slim to none that he's back in Green Bay.
Yeah, I don't know why he would want to come back to Green Bay.
Well, because Rodgers is his guy, and he's gone.
If Rodgers is his guy, okay, and even if he signed somewhere else, to me, playing that late into your career, you want to go someplace that you can win a championship, where you don't want to be somebody who's holding the hand of younger players trying to bring them along.
Chewy, are you going out with your wife this evening or what?
It's looking pretty good.
I thought he was going to plead the
We
fifth.
got ice on it right away. It's more of the
little bit of makeup,
discoloration.
A little bit of makeup,
yeah.
Some sunglasses.
I think we'll be all right.
Maybe a
I think
scarf.
I'll let you know Monday. I'll give you an update. I'm more worried
And you
about
wear
the plane.
sunglasses at night.
Thanks for hanging out with us here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy your Cinco de Mayo, and we will see you on Monday. Wilde and Tausch is up next.
Westbound 94, they're wrapping up this accident right at the county line. It did have the left lane blocked a couple times there, but looks like everything is easing up nicely. Not seeing too many delays past that scene. Rest of the system looking pretty good. Maybe a quick tap of the brakes between Morgan and Oklahoma Avenue on northbound 4394 just as you get out of the Plainfield curve. Nothing major, though. Maybe even just a minute.